A year and a half ago, I think one of my most precious relationships ended. To this date, if I think about a relationship, it interrupts with everything that's going on.
We fall in love because to accommodate or to make this relationship like the most integral part of us, we lose a part of us. What hurts us in a breakup is we begin to feel rejected.
A year and a half ago, I think one of my most precious relationships ended. And it went very badly. Like the breakup, it happened very badly. And that's left an impact on me. I think I'm not comfortable with knowing that there's someone out there who doesn't just like me, like at all anymore. And even though it's the same here, I don't like that person. It's just something that was so huge to me that I've lost, and I wanna be able to cope up with it better because to this date, if I think about a relationship, it interrupts that part interrupts with everything that's going on, and I want to know how do I just let it go, let that go.
So, Vanshika, when I hear you ask me that question, I still hear the pain in your voice. The pain of having lost what was so dear. Although you seem to want to believe that you've overcome that pain, I promise you, you haven't. And it still is a very strong trigger. And the trigger being, what did I do wrong? Why was I just put out of someone's life, someone who was so dear to me? And why was I put out? And people your age do struggle with such questions related to relationships. What happens for most of us, Vanshika, is that when we fall in love, I like the term fall in love, because that is what we do. We fall in love, not rise in love. We fall in love because to accommodate or to make this relationship like the most integral part of us, we lose a part of us to accommodate the other person and their needs and their values and their choices, that we begin to lose ourselves in that relationship. We are doing so much for that person. We are invested in fitting into the best girlfriend mold or the best boyfriend mold to such an extent that we lose our individuality. When this relationship is lost, not because you were not good enough, but because the person has a different choice. Do you have a choice in fruits? Which fruit do you like?
I would say all fruits, but now that I've said I have a choice.
Something watermelon. And I love mangoes. Then when I see a watermelon and you say, hey, you know what? This watermelon is almost as good as a mango. And I'm saying, okay, there's no mango season. It's not going to come for a long time. Let me try the watermelon. And then I try the watermelon. And it excites me because, wow, it's something nice, it's beautiful. But then this craving for a mango kicks in after some time and says, but this is not what you wanted. This is not what you have. And then we begin to see the flaws in a relationship. It does not mean that your choice in watermelons is wrong and my choice in mangoes is right, and neither the other way around. So when a partner leaves you, it does not mean that you are flawed. It just means that probably this person wants something different in a relationship, and probably I may not be the person to deliver this. And so it has to be okay. What hurts us in a breakup is we begin to feel rejected. We begin to feel, oh, how can this person like a watermelon when I am the best mango? How can he not love a mango? Oh my God, what a horrible person. I was the best mango available. And how can this person not like the mango?
That very beautifully answers whatever, questions I've had. I think for me, it was more about how can you just put the watermelon away and forget about it? Like, I don't think that happens. And um, knowing what I know about that person, I know that did not happen. Like, I know that he did not just put me away and forget about it. But how do you hold yourself so strong to not just have some respect for the watermelon, man? Just
Does the watermelon know the value of what it is? Is the watermelon competing with the mango?
no, I'm not competing. I'm sorry, the watermelon is not competing.
The idea or the point that I'm trying to make here is that why is it so difficult to let a person go if you really value yourselves? Because if I'm going to hold on to a person or a relationship because he adds value to me, then am I not missing out on being myself completely?
So it was more about how I was the best of me when I was with him. And I'm not saying that he added that. He did not.
My question to you is what did you receive in this relationship from the other person that you are not able to give yourselves and feel complete?
Comfort. Being taken care of. That's it.
Now see how it goes back to conditioning.
Yeah.
We try to fulfill our needs and our wants from our childhood. And then there is this part, a younger part of me that was not fulfilled, who's saying, I want to be loved because daddy wasn't there, mama wasn't there, so and so wasn't there. And will you replace that for me? A relationship is a relationship of equals. It cannot be a replacement to mommy and daddy and relationships. So when I see a person feeling a void at the end of a relationship, then they're not missing the relationship. They're missing the feeling that the relationship brought to the table.
Yeah.
And that is because I'm unable to provide for myself, and therefore I'm dependent upon you to make me feel comforted, in your case, and pampered.
Right. That's true. With so after that, after everything, now when I don't think I want to be in that position again. But if I were to, look around, maybe see if there's someone compatible with me, it's stopping me. Like, it's a very big part. Like, I see people who I would definitely hit it off with, and then I just end up ghosting them. I'm just like, hey, no, bye. And it's becoming difficult. And I really want to understand how to stop this from becoming a loop.
So, Vanshika, I'm a big advocate of therapy. It's very important that we get into therapy to reclaim lost parts of us. That part of Vanshika, the small part of Vanshika who's saying, I want to be loved, I want to be cared for, I want to be comforted. If that part of Vanshika heals, she's no longer going to look for partners who have the ability to make her feel loved and cared and pampered. Because if I'm looking for someone who's going to love me and care for me and pamper me, I'm not looking for a partner, I'm looking for an adult who can take care of me. And who would want to be in a relationship with a child? And this is not your story alone. This is a story of many heartbroken teenagers. We end up giving a lot of power to our partners in a relationship without realizing that I lose so much of myself trying to prove to the person I am worthy of the love and the care and the comfort that I receive from that person. Relationship has to be of equals, not any partner being inferior or superior.
I think that's something that I have to learn now, because it was, and it wasn't that I was inferior, it wasn't that he was inferior, it was just somehow the
He
right
wasn't a
fit.
caregiver enough.
No, ma'am, he cared. He cared too much. And that's what I fell in love with. Like, because I've done everything myself for most of my life. And at that time my relationship with my family was also very much better. Like, it was in the right place. And after all of that, I was still, of course, I was still a little too independent, I would say. And when that person did not stop giving, like constantly just giving love and attention, and just in a matter of seconds flipped, that's what triggered me, and I think that has stayed with me.
Many a times in a relationship, we give what we want to receive, almost always. And when I'm giving and giving and giving and not receiving in return, that's when I stop putting efforts in that giving, because it's not yielding me the results I'm looking for.
That's something I completely agree with, because when I think about it, I think I failed at returning the care that he gave. Like, that is something that I should have definitely taken care of at the time. And whenever I did after that, it was too little too late.
Also, remember, we can't give what we don't have. When I try to give what I don't have, there's a lot of expectation, because I gave you, please give it back to me. I gave you, please give it back to me. And that expectation plays out. But if I have abundant of whatever I'm giving, then I'm thankful to you for taking what I can't contain within me. So giving has to come from gratitude, not from arrogance and superiority.
You're so right. You're so right about that. And I think if I want to ask just one more question that could help a lot of people out there, there's something called situationships. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Explain your idea of what is situationship.
Where you like a person, they like you back, you're doing everything that happens in a relationship, you're caring for each other and all of that, but there's no accountability, there's no commitment, and there's a sense of unsurety, and that ends up confusing the other person. For me, I'm absolutely away from that. But I see so many people around me and I feel helpless because I can't help them. And like like we already talked about, I have a need to rescue. So I need to know how to help people around me that are in these situations and situationships.
My first question to you is, why do you want to help people? Are they really looking for help, or is it your need to help them?
I need to help them. They're not looking
Then
for
you
help.
need to work on your need to help them. Always remember, people are in a situation because they have chosen to be there, either consciously or unconsciously. Nobody makes a choice to do something unless some need of theirs is getting fulfilled. Commitment itself is a very huge need. And people are afraid to commit, because with commitment, they see a lot of toxicity. Commitment comes with a perceived toxicity. There's no real toxicity in any relationship. It's perceived that if I commit, then it's going to go overboard. So people want to have a relationship but take the commitment and the security out of it. And that is where they feel the sense of freedom and liberation, without realizing that a relationship, when committed into, liberates you and gives you a sense of freedom. We have the meanings and the relationships and the associations all messed up in our head. Please understand, what seems logical is not necessarily rational. what seems like coming in line with the belief systems that we carry. All belief systems itself come from irrationality. And because we are logical beings with irrational systems, we are in a mess.
That's so true. I think at this point, everybody is just choosing to be in that mess, and it's becoming problematic.
Everybody is just in a rat race of being, of being, of being. We all need to stop, breathe, and ask ourselves, am I being or am I doing? And then we realize we've stopped being a very long time ago. And we are just doing and doing and doing. Doing comes from voids. Being comes from satisfaction of where I am and being happy and content of being who I am. Owning ourselves is the biggest piece or the gift that we can give ourselves.
I agree with you. That is so. Yeah. I have one thing that I really want to talk about. You remember back in school, you used to talk about trying. Like, that was a big topic, and I think that's just stayed with me. When you say, I think you told me this, if you're trying to do something, it either happens or you're just not trying. Like, if I'm trying to pick this bottle up, it's either, if I'm thinking that I'm trying, then it's not the same. I don't know if I'm able to.
Yes, I absolutely understand.
I remember this happening very clearly, and I think that's what I want to ask for everybody. What is trying? Like, why do people keep saying, hey, I'm trying to be there? You're not trying.
The simplest explanation for the word trying is I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's the simplest explanation. Because when I say I'm trying, am I putting in the efforts? And if I'm putting in the efforts, then I have reached closer to the goal. But if I'm here and you ask me, have you picked up your specs? And I'm saying I'm trying and I haven't reached, I haven't given it importance. People usually say the word try because they're avoiding the commitment of doing. Two is that the effort that is required for me to achieve something is way too much than the perceived payoff. And therefore, I keep telling people, don't ask me, I'm just trying. Because you and I did not define a timeline to the end goal. And how significant is that effort for me to put in my efforts to that situation? So when people say I'm trying, what I hear people say is I don't want to do it, but I don't want to offend you, and therefore I'm going to keep you on the hook by saying I'm trying.
That is so correctly said. Like, I think that is something, that is a principle in my life now. If somebody's saying they're trying, I know they're not. I don't have any more questions. I think this has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much, Vanshika, for having me here. And it's really nice to connect with your age group because I believe you are the future for me. And when I see someone so intrigued by the questions and by behaviors and by their thought process, I feel my future is in safe hands. So thank you for having this candid chat with me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to be here.
All the best to you.